So you don't believe in magic? I'm never falling from these habits. No, who's ever really static? Just take my honor, you can have it.
What is up here, YouTube? Jigsaw0097 here. Carson Wentz is a stud. We all know this, guys. But how good is he really? I've taken it upon myself to analyze his stats under pressure and out of pressure, and I kind of want to go over his overall just QBR in general and the kind of dynamic that this kid will bring to the Eagles next season. We've already seen it, like I said. We know how good Carson Wentz is. Now that he's been injured, maybe he'll learn to stay healthy a little bit easier and protect that knee. But guys, I think we're in for one hell of a season in 2018, and I'm going to give you my reasons why Carson Wentz will be the X factor this season. Stay tuned. It was a time of uncertainty exiting the 2015 season and going into the 2016 season, and more importantly, the draft. The Eagles had just fired Chip Kelly, a coach that managed to go 10-6 in his first two seasons, and then a measly 6-9 in his final season, not even able to finish out the rest of it because he was fired week 16. Leaving Pat Shurmur to be the coach for the final game against the Giants, and the Eagles left on a high note. They had Sam Bradford as their starting quarterback. It was looking like they were going to be able to re-sign him to a future deal, which they actually ended up doing, giving him a 2-year contract. Things were looking up for the Eagles. Entering the 2016 draft, the Eagles did something that no one expected. Because of the abysmal final season of Chip Kelly, the Eagles were sitting at number 13 in the draft order. They were able to unload cornerback Byron Maxwell, who did not want to play for the Eagles as it looked. He basically came over to get paid after being on the Legion of Boom with the Seahawks, making him look a lot better than he was. Linebacker Kiko Alonso, who will always be infamous in Philadelphia as the guy that Shady McCoy was traded for. And then running back DeMarco Murray, which looked like a spite move when Chip Kelly signed him due to the fact that he had come from Dallas and they had just gotten rid of Shady McCoy. Roseman was able to dump all of these players that didn't really have a place in this Eagles team off to move from number 13 to number 8. And it set up the shockwaves that would lead to Carson Wentz and the Browns trade that sealed the deal. Taking the number 8 spot that Howie Roseman currently held, he traded it to the Browns while also giving up a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, a 1st-round pick in 17, and a 2nd-round pick in 18 to move up to the number 2 spot to get Carson Wentz. The Eagles were kind of taking a gamble here, as the Rams were also in the running to take Carson Wentz, but they were pretty sure that their man was going to be Jared Goff, so the Eagles bet that they would be able to get Carson Wentz, and it paid off. This is what I'm absolutely loving about this current era of Eagles football, is the risks that are willing to be taken to win championships for the city. And then fast forwarding a bit into preseason and the training camp before that, Sam Bradford gets a 2-year deal, as I mentioned before, but he is very unhappy with the fact that the Eagles went ahead and drafted Carson Wentz, knowing that his days would now be numbered in Philadelphia as this young, new quarterback from North Dakota State. And it was pretty obvious that this Carson Wentz would be the future of the franchise. So Sam Bradford started complaining a lot, didn't really like that he was in Philadelphia anymore. All of a sudden, getting paid to sit the bench and do practically nothing your whole career was not enough for him. And so, in a blockbuster trade, after the Vikings lost Teddy Bridgewater to a horrific knee injury, the Eagles managed to squeeze Sam Bradford to Minnesota for a 1st-round pick, almost negating what they gave up to even get Carson Wentz in the first place. The biggest problem the Eagles face now, though, and the fan base as a whole is, was Carson Wentz ready to take on that starting role? He'd only been in one preseason game and actually injured his shoulder in that preseason game when they were playing the Buccaneers. And even I made a video actually earlier on, very old video of mine now, but I didn't think Carson Wentz was ready. I didn't think it was a good idea to trade Sam Bradford. Basically, I was wrong, along with a lot of people, because Carson Wentz came out slinging. The opening game against the Browns was proof of that, and it just went full steam ahead from there. The 2016 season did end on a sour note, but there was much promise ahead, and then, obviously, last season, we got to witness the Eagles win the Super Bowl. So what makes Carson Wentz so good, I guess is the point of this video. And what really makes him an X factor in the Eagles organization and really in the league as a whole? Well, I'm here to explain that. As you can see in this graph, this is Carson Wentz's stats, more importantly his quarterback rating, QBR, when he is under pressure by 2 or more defenders. This is one of the best things about Carson Wentz, is the fact that he's able to escape the pocket while keeping his eyes downfield. This also could have been what led to his injury, but it certainly is one of his X factors. And also, as you can see in the graph, he's in the same categories as Kirk Cousins, Ben Roethlisberger, and Russell Wilson, which is very impressive. Honestly, this graph was a little misleading to me even, because I thought Russell Wilson would be like where Kirk Cousins is at, but guess not. But anyway, these are quarterbacks that are very good at escaping pressure, and it's just insane what Carson Wentz was able to do last season. And even though he was injured, I think he will still be able to carry this over during this season, just because of how aware he is of his surroundings, and he's always got an eye for a touchdown, looking downfield regardless of who's rushing him, which is a huge, huge X factor. And that doesn't even go over the fact that he had the best 3rd/4th down conversion percentage in the entire league last year, guys. He had a whopping 54% conversion rate, basically meaning that over half of the time he was able to convert a 3rd down. This just caused absolute hell for defenses, and it was a huge X factor. So basically, we've gone over 2 X factors that I like to just mention there. His QBR under pressure and his ability to convert 3rd downs. But what about his intelligence, guys? I always like to say that quarterbacks need it up here more than they need it down here. Basically what that means is they need to have the intelligence in their head more than they need the physical attributes that they have. And Carson Wentz is not lacking physical attributes. At 6'5", 237 pounds, this guy is a freak of muscle and speed. So obviously he does not need help there. But if that's all you got, you're not going to be much in this league. You'll end up more like a Mark Sanchez or a Tim Tebow. Not to say that they're unintelligent, they just don't have very good football minds when it comes to playing the quarterback position. And this is something that Carson Wentz has in spades. As we just mentioned, he's able to escape pressure as it closes around him. He's able to move out of the pocket when it starts collapsing and keep his eyes downfield and deliver touchdowns. Last year he had an insane amount of touchdowns that were over 40 yards just because he was able to keep the drive alive. And if you guys remember, the opening touchdown to Nelson Aguilar during the Redskins game exercised all demons for both Carson Wentz and Nelson Aguilar from 2016 as he tossed a beautiful touchdown pass. If you guys were able to watch Carson Wentz's John Gruden football camp, quarterback camp, it showed a lot of how intelligent this guy is. I can't even say that I'm smart enough to name off some of this stuff, but basically John Gruden was showing him a bunch of plays on a chalkboard, and he was able to just spout them off like they were nothing. And even John Gruden, you could tell, was very impressed with this kid going into the draft. A lot of people just thought that this kid was not going to be that good because he came from North Dakota State, a Division II school, and they were all looking at Jared Goff to be the standout player, and I do think Jared Goff is a good quarterback. Wentz just has a totally different dynamic to him. He has a very high pro-ready knowledge that a lot of quarterbacks coming out of college don't have. Usually takes them a couple years to develop that, and as you see, we're in year 2. He's already contributed to a Super Bowl victory, and who knows what he's going to do this year in 2018. So all in all, guys, just to kind of wrap this up here, the Eagles have an absolute stud for a quarterback here. We have Nick Foles as the backup as well, so if anything goes wrong, we got him to step in. But I think Carson Wentz, the ceiling is the limit for this kid, and I'm glad that he got injured early on in his season, in his career, if it had to happen at all, because hopefully he will learn from this and be able to have a long, healthy, championship-filled career with Doug Peterson here in Philadelphia. But as always, guys, what did you think about the video? What do you guys think about my X factors that I just mentioned? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Did you like this kind of video? I'm kind of using game footage that's not really relevant to what I'm talking about, but I will be looking to change that in the future. This is just kind of what I have now, and I'm just trying to make a little bit more edited content with better audio quality for you guys. But as always, if you're returning, thank you so much for watching the video. Go ahead and like and subscribe as well. You don't want to miss the future videos if you're new. If you're an Eagles fan, you're going to want to stay on this channel because I'm going to be delivering Eagles news during the season and opinion pieces like this, where I go over some things and like to analyze a couple things and do stuff like that. But as always, guys, this has been Jigsaw0097. Fly Eagles fly, baby. Carson Wentz is the future, and I will talk to you all later.
Sentimental